that George, like a lot of others before him, was a victim of racism. What is racism?
Racism is utilizing your privilege for the oppression and suppression of a certain group of people, right? So racism in America is the systematic oppression and suppression of people of color in America. Because the reality is that when you have a system that was built to disproportionately, to intentionally discriminate against a certain group of people, it does not do well for the development of this country. And we are talking about racism is redlining, right? Racism is about not having access to quality education. So in America, everybody has access to education from K through 12 at the very minimum. But racism has played a key role in the quality of education which Black people get. Racism is also when a community has too many Black people, the property value goes down. Racism is environmental injustice. Racism is police brutality. Racism impacts just about every aspect of our lives. But when we go back to what transpired with the police officer, I always say this.
What about the quality of health care?
Absolutely. Not having access to health care is a form of racism. Uh, but I also think that when you have people who are in leadership who lack empathy and compassion, it is fundamentally lethal to society. So outside of the law, when that officer had his knee on George Floyd's neck, George Floyd said, "I cannot breathe. I cannot breathe." Where is your compassion? Where is your empathy? How do you put your knee on someone's neck and continue to do so after they say they cannot breathe and you heard them loud and clear? And that is something that, yes, laws are good. Laws are a piece of tool that we can use to get redress in court. But the hearts of men cannot be legislated. The hearts of men in this country and all over the world must be changed.
Are you talking about attitudes and mindsets?
Yes, absolutely. Implicit biases. I'm talking about having compassion, having empathy. And I think those words are often not used when you talk about leadership. And I used to think that laws are sufficient to change the landscape of society, because the reality is you have the Civil Rights Act of 1964, and you have countless other laws to address racism in America. You have institutions like the EEOC to report employment discrimination. You have the EPA, which is a whole nother conversation because the EPA addresses environmental racism depending on who the president is, right? But the point I'm trying to make is that laws are not sufficient to address racism and implicit biases in America. The hearts of men must also change.